Hello and welcome to This Is Ibrox podcast. This is your immediate match reaction to Rangers 3, Real Betis 2 tonight in Seville. Unbelievable performance from Rangers. Managed to top the group, which I'm not really sure a lot of us seen coming before tonight. So I'm absolutely buzzing to get stuck into this one. Reiss is joining me tonight for this one. Reiss, how are you?
Buzzing, mate. Much like most of the support. I think kind of cloud 9 after the kind of circumstances coming into the game, and what a result, what a game.
Definitely not easy circumstances for the team. I think we're all aware we're pretty depleted at this point. So to put on a performance like that tonight in a really, really difficult venue, I believe Real Betis are unbeaten there this season. I think they drew with Real Madrid at the weekend. So it's it's a very, very difficult task. So to go there and win by 3 goals to do is phenomenal, really. But we'll get stuck right into it because we've got a lot to get through. I'll kind of just summarise as we go, and Reiss, you can jump in when it suits you. I thought it was the first half, especially. I thought it was a really great game. I thought the two teams were pretty evenly matched. I thought Betis were quite good in possession, but I actually thought when Rangers managed to pick it up on the break, they looked really dangerous, which is something European football sometimes I think we struggle a wee bit in terms of being able to compete with teams that are good technically. And whereas tonight, I felt that anytime we had an opportunity to break and show our quality, we did. In saying that, Betis played some really good stuff in the first half, I have to say as well. So, look, really, really good game. We'll just start with our goal. It's Abdallah Sima with a goal again. We press really high. Tavernier wins the ball back. It's given to McCausland. McCausland again does well. He's kind of got that reverse ball in him, should I say. Cuts it back to Cyriel Dessers. Let's be honest, doesn't really control it well, but he managed it off. Corner. Phenomenal goal, I think. Really, really good finish from Abdallah Sima. What was your take on it?
No, I thought it's pretty similar to one he scored at Ibrox the other week as well. See where it just kind of breaks, and I think that might be 2 assists for Dessers in both goals, that the ball just kind of like runs across him, he sort of touches it, and Sima's just there. Whether if it's pre-planned, it's genius, but if not, then it's certainly working. But it was a great goal. It was a good finish, and it's kind of getting to that point now where you're just kind of going, right, pay the money, just get him, buy him.
Yeah, I think I put it late on in the chat there that some of the composure Seaman's showing now is, I think, of a top level. You know, there were situations in that game tonight outside of that finish where he's taking it under pressure, or he's driving at men when Rangers need to get up the park. He's driving at them, he's beating them, he's trying to hit the byline. There's a lot of real quality in his game now, which we didn't see at the start. You're starting to see now. And ultimately, that's a clinical side as well. You're now seeing that from him. When he gets an opportunity, he usually takes it. And I think it's a really good finish. And a lot of credit has to go to everyone in that goal. I thought Cyriel Dessers done well for it. He maybe doesn't control it in the way you would expect from a forward in that position, but in terms of he holds his man off, he maybe gets a wee bit lucky, and Sima manages to hit it bottom corner. So I think a fantastic start for Rangers. I thought, like I said at the beginning there, I thought they showed real, confidence in possession when they got it. And Real Betis, I think, tried to starve them with possession at points, but once they got it, they showed a lot of confidence and they were able to make them way forward, and they deserved that goal. It was really good on the break. We'll go to the next point then. We'll go to Real Betis' equalizer. There is a couple of negatives in here today, of course, because Betis scored a couple of goals, but we'll try and keep that to a minimum. It's a goal from I think it's Juan Miranda down the left-hand side.
Yeah, it was.
This one, I think, I'll let you jump in this, Reiss, in terms of Ross McCausland. I think this is maybe a learning experience for Ross McCausland tonight on that right-hand side when it comes to tracking a man, and especially at this level, if you are not up to it and you're not doing the things that I was going to call it the basics. It's maybe not basics, but in terms of just hard graft tracking your man, you get punished, and they did. I thought it was a really well worked for goal from Betis' point of view, but I think we could have done a wee bit better to defend that. What do you think?
Yeah, I think he's just kind of lost track of his man as it's going through, which I think we then ratified later in the game. We'll come back to that, but I think he's just possibly get caught sleeping, but it's also possibly a deliberate kind of overload that they've not anticipated anybody to notice that, because Miranda's a good player. He came through at Barcelona. It's not, they're certainly not a bad team, and it's a really, really well worked goal. You see it comes out to Bellerin to begin with, and then before you know it, it's switched over once diagonally, and then somebody's going beyond and behind. So it's like a slight lapse of concentration, but at such an experience, I don't know that we can massively like kind of criticise McCausland for it as much as we can go right, learn from it.
Yeah. I think you need these things to happen as a young player, don't you? You need to be put into this environment. You need to realise in terms of if I don't do this and I make that mistake, then I can get punished at this level. I think honestly, I'm maybe only saying this now because Rangers have ended up winning the game, right? But I'm seeing it. I'm trying to see it as a positive, right? I've seen it from Ross McCausland against Sparta Prague as well. That night when he came on, where he made such a positive impact going forward, but you've seen that he was just lacking a wee bit defensively on that right-hand side, and that's actually where the Sparta goal came at Ibrox as well. So I'm sure it's something that Philippe Clement has recognised. I'm sure it's something that he'll work on, and I think overall McCausland again tonight showed his quality. You know, this is a young boy. He's just coming into this Rangers team, and every time he was in possession, I just thought he could do something, which I think is that's high praise. I think for a young player that you think look what he can do for us when he gets possession of the ball. So I'm not going to be too harsh on this one, Reiss. I think I'm going to let it go. But yeah, I think you're bang on. If he learns from it, then that's the positive we'll take, isn't it?
100%. He's come on and just been effective, and that I think that's what we can ask of the youth team players coming through. If you maybe chuck them on the last 10-20 minutes to go, you can expect them to play safe passes and just kind of try not to look bad rather than trying to look good. So I think he's gone beyond that now. He's getting to the point where, and I don't think he ever really did, to be honest with you, in the first team, get to the point where he was just playing it safe. He's always wanted to take a man on. He's always carrying the ball. He's always wanted to progress it, and he's done it brilliantly tonight. You've seen it for, I think, possibly 2 of the goals. But no, well, one of them definitely. But he's done really well for coming in. But yeah, learning curve tonight. But see, when he's like tracking Isco back, that must be mind blowing for guys like Ross McCausland, just like looking, going, I'm actually playing with him now. And a couple of months ago, it was B team football at the training centre. So, I mean,
and it shows you it's all about taking your opportunity, isn't it? You know, there's a lot of boys in the B team that they'll have a lot of talent, and when you get the opportunity, Rangers, you got to grab it. And Ross McCausland's done that, and he's shown that he can compete at this level. So credit to him, and yeah, let's hope he kicks on after that one and learns from it. Let's just get to the next point, Reiss. The second goal for Rangers, I couldn't believe when I seen this. I think all Rangers fans were the same. It's a Cyriel Desser's goal, and it's a ridiculous goal at that, let's be honest. Good play in midfield. I think it's Dessers that actually plays the ball off to Cifuentes and darts down the line. Cifuentes does really well. He picks his head up. He plays a ball to Dessers down on the left. And I think my reaction at that point was like, let's just try and get yourself into the box. Let's see if you can get a support and run. Dessers goes one better. He drives at his man. He sits him down. I didn't think I would ever see that from Cyriel Dessers. Shows great composure, drives at the goalkeeper and just slots it through his legs. I mean, I could not believe when I seen that. Reiss, what about yourself?
No, it was mind blowing stuff. Like Cifuentes, I'm probably his biggest critic anyway. So for him to play like a perfectly weighted ball down the side, he's carried it through, as you say, chopped onto his left and just sat the boy down. You're like, what's going on? Next minute, he's nutmegged the goalkeeper, and it was a bit surreal. You're looking at it going, how has he done that? How has he managed that? Where's that come from? But I think it was kind of said in commentary as well. He's maybe just getting that confidence now to, right, when I'm getting a chance, I'm getting a shot away, and I'm just going to try something because this being hesitant isn't getting me anywhere. And maybe trying to, he's almost been second thinking himself before, where he's been so hesitant and reluctant that it's easier for guys to get back before he's acted and had a shot, whereas now he's actually confident in taking a man on, and the goal was unbelievable. It's like, see you later, right, nutmeg, I'm away to celebrate. It looked so simple, as though he does it all the time.
Composure, isn't it? Which is something we've not really seen from Dessers so far. That composure in that area to understand that it's only him. It's his opportunity. There's no one else supporting him. He's got to put it away, and he does. And I think you've made a good point there. I think confidence is such a huge thing in football. It really is. I think we're seeing someone on the other end of that at the moment in Sam Lammers, who's got none of it. And you can see it in his game. He's very tentative. He doesn't really want to take risks. I think Dessers now, he's just getting more of a feel of the ball now. He's just finding himself a wee bit again. And you're starting to see that. And I think it's something I've noticed, actually, in Desser's game the last couple of weeks, and it's something that Alfredo Morelos used to do, was he's trying to get a lot of touches early on in the game. And I think that's just something, you just get a feel for the ball, you get yourself into the game. It means when you get it in a dangerous area, you can maybe do more of it. Morelos used to do that a lot for Rangers. He used to, if you all remember, he used to just drop in, he'd lay the ball back, and he'd disappear again. A lot of people used to get frustrated with it, but I think it was just a way to build his confidence in that game. And I've seen a wee bit more of that from Dessers. He's willing to get a wee bit more involved in things than he was before. So, look, really, really positive. I probably can't be any more complimentary about that goal than I have been. I'm actually really happy for him. I'll be honest with you. He's still got to kick on. He's still got to do more. But that should hopefully give him the kick up the bum, as they would say, right, to get going. Because if that won't, I don't think anything will, Reiss. I think he's shown a lot of quality there. So let's hope that he kicks on from that.
Just to add to that as well, see the wee kind of like the way he just rolls defenders for both the similar goals we're talking about, and especially the first one tonight. Say it quietly, that's a bit Morelos-like as well. Being able to just hold somebody off and kind of roll them and let the ball roll to somebody else.
Well, let's hope that Dessers can find his 2019-2020 Morelos for me, because we'll have some striker on our hands. We'll just go to the Betis second at this point. I still can't believe we spoke this much, and I'm still talking about the first half, but it was a ridiculous first half. The Real Betis second, I think, is probably a more disappointing one for me than the first, Reiss, because I feel it was a situation we didn't really need to put ourselves into. The ball comes over the top. Ben Davies tries to chest it down. Now, I've seen him do this quite a lot, so I can understand why he's tried it in this area, but ultimately he's been caught in possession. Isco's picked it up. He's drove to the edge of our box. He's turned Connor Goldson a couple of times. He's made the space, which again shows the quality of footballer he is. He understands he needs to hold things up and let support arrive. Holds things up. He plays it out to Jose Perez, who slots at home, right bottom corner. Jack Butland's got absolutely no chance. So again, from a Betis perspective, I thought it was a really, really good goal. I thought they capitalised on our defensive mistake, but I think from a Rangers perspective, it's disappointing you're giving goals away like that, especially in a situation where I don't really feel we had to give away. Does that make sense, Reiss?
Yeah. And I think, see, because the first goal comes for that side, it's almost like twice as annoying. Because, and I think that might be why the halftime change came, was because it keeps getting out beyond to the right-hand side, and it's actually Cifuentes who loses the ball initially that then gets cleared on to Davies. And albeit Davies has done poorly as well, you could argue Cifuentes should have probably been a bit more composed as well. But it's a poor goal to lose, but what a finish. He's had it first time, and you're looking at it going like, that's why the guy's played Premier League football, La Liga football. He's been a £30 million signing, if I remember rightly. He's played at a high level, so he's definitely got that ability, just perhaps not the consistency. But from our perspective, it's a bit of a kick in the teeth, because you've just seen Dessers go through, and I think as much as it's all gone against them, we probably wouldn't have cared how. You'd have loved for Dessers' goal to be the winner.
Yeah, of course you would. Of course you would. I know. I think Dessers had his R9 moment, didn't he? He had that moment where you looked at him and thought, wow, what a football you've got. And then Betis managed to go up the other end 5 minutes later and equalise. So, yeah, that was a sore one. I think you made a really good point there in terms of it just shows the quality. I know it's the Europa League and not the Champions League, but there's a lot of good players in this competition. Jose Perez with the finish was superb, but I just thought Isco again tonight, what a great watch he is. You can really understand why he played at Real Madrid for 3, 4, 5 years. I mean, he is really, really good in possession, really understands where he needs to be in a football pitch. And yeah, I actually did enjoy watching him tonight, even though he was against Rangers. I'm just happy he wasn't on the winning side. So yeah, I hope he enjoys the Conference League.
He'll probably
he probably will. He probably will. You picked up on something there, Reiss, in terms of the change. So let's just we'll move into the second half, but we'll have a wee discussion on that change. So Dujon Sterling comes on for Jose Cifuentes at halftime. Interestingly enough, you hear from the coverage on the TV that it is a tactical change. Jose Cifuentes isn't struggling with any sort of knock. Now, I think Philippe Clement deserves a lot of credit here, because you made a good point there. I think Real Betis were definitely targeting our right side. They were getting a lot of joy out of that, and I think he's felt, if I bring on Dujon Sterling in central midfield, very similar to Dundee at the weekend, he can be the guy that runs out onto that side to try and help cover the space. Even it's like that kind of central right space. You've got someone in there that's a really good tackler, right? What in terms, just before we summarise the second half, then how impressed were you with that change? I know you did reference it earlier.
I think it's definitely easier to see in hindsight. At first, I thought it was a knock, and then I wrote it in the chat, and I don't know whether it was yourself or somebody else that pointed out the underlapping runs for the goals, and as soon as it's said, you kind of go retrospectively, oh yes, so it did. It's been that side twice. Maybe it's been not picking up a man, and it definitely helped the second half. You seen how we sort of nullified that side. I don't know whether it was just that we came into the game more or that, but I don't think we missed Cifuentes, and albeit I don't think Sterling did a great game either. The change itself was brilliant because it nullified where we were leaking goals, and it meant that towards the end of the game, the likelihood that us conceding just became less and less.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I think it's one of those ones you're bang on. In hindsight, you can understand it and you can see it. You maybe don't notice it too much during the game, but I just think having another kind of defensive presence in there really helped. I thought James Tavernier done really well tonight. I'll be honest with you on that right hand side in terms of his 1v1s. I thought he done well, especially in that last 10 minutes where Betis were peppering that side. He done really well to cut out a lot, but having that kind of protection in front of him, and especially with Ross McCausland still in the park, it just gave him a wee bit more on that side as well. So a lot of credit goes to Philippe Clement there. He recognised the where we were struggling in the game and he made a change. And making substitutions at halftime never goes. I think a lot of people look at that as such a negative, but I think it's great to see a manager just recognise it, that the change has to happen now. It doesn't matter the minute, and he makes a change.
I said that. I've always wondered, like, when did football just universally decide it's 60-minute subs that every manager's going to do? And I love half-time subs. So even just to see it, I was like, that's a bit of a throwback. And then I thought it's probably a knock. But then you kind of realise. And do you know what I think would be quite interesting, right? And it might be a bit rogue. I certainly maybe wouldn't start with. I'd like to see Tav where Sterling was and Sterling where Tav was. Because I don't know who's the better defender out of the two of them. Probably Tav. But Tav's 100% the better attacker out of the two of them.
Yeah, and I think you've seen that in certain stages, actually. I think you've seen that at the weekend against Dundee, that they were kind of interchanging Tavernier and Sterling. He would step into midfield. And I think you've seen it at the end there as well, that Tavernier was just being the one that steps forward and he was letting Sterling sitting behind. So it's something we might see in the future. I think Dujon Sterling tonight has certainly proved that he is a player capable of playing for Rangers. I know we've not seen a lot of him yet, but I think coming into a position that he's very unfamiliar with, I thought tonight in that second half he was superb. Honestly, superb. I just thought covering the ground, carrying the ball under pressure when he had to get us up the park. I think he deserves a lot of credit, him and Philippe Clement, for making that change. Okay, we'll just kick on. We'll summarise a lot of that second half because, again, I thought it was quite tight. I thought Betis had quite a few good chances, looked really dangerous from set pieces, Real Betis, let's be honest. I think they actually scored from a set piece. Luckily enough, it hits off Jose Perez's hand, so it was ruled out by VAR, thankfully. We had a good chance of breaking into the box at one point with Sam Lammers, but it was unfortunately fouled, and Barisic's free kick hit the wall. We made a couple of changes. Roofe Matondo came on for Ross McCausland and Cyriel Dessers. I think the whole idea at that point was to maybe just try and exploit the space that Betis were giving up to try and find a winner. But let's just talk about the goal. Reiss, let's just talk about the winner. So it's obviously late on in the second half. I think it's just before the 80th minute. It's a set piece from Rangers. It's an outswinger. Ben Davies gets his head on it. It goes to the back post to Connor Goldson. He does well. He lifts his head up. He cuts it back to Rabbi Matondo. Let's say it as it is. Rabbi Matondo should score. He should put his foot through it and it should hit the back of the net. He's been very fortunate that Betis are deep. They've played Kemar Roofe on side, and Kemar Roofe does what he does in that area of the box. He swivels and he finishes. And yeah, it's elation for Rangers. It's turned out to be the winner, and it's secured us Europa League football into the next year. So just give me your thoughts on that one, Reiss.
It was brilliant. It's Kemar Roofe. It's just that sort of caveat you get with him. It's like he's amazing in short bursts, very, very short bursts. He's like Santa. You don't see him very often, but when you do see him, you're happy you go home. So just to give a wee bit of a Christmas reference at this time of year. But I actually hope that it was worked on in training because Davies' header originally is pretty woeful. I'm
Yeah,
hoping that's a deliberate knock on to Goldson, who does very, very well, just to have that composure, decision making, to realise I've got a bit of space here because I thought he was going to leather it. And he's just cut it back to Matondo, as you say, should score. And Kemar Roofe, I think he's just about like 360'd himself to swing round and wrap his left leg on it. And luckily, Betis had guys on the line. I think they probably acknowledged they're maybe not the tallest team.
yeah.
So it was, they should have guys in the line, but for them not to step out, it's a good bit of luck for us, admittedly, but I will take that all day. And glad to see that it's helped us get through to the next round.
Yeah, I think you made a good point there. I'm not sure if it's maybe something Rangers worked on, but Goldson does well to peel to the back post. I think he understands he anticipates where the ball's going to drop, and he lifts his head and he cuts it back. And yeah, I remember when Rabbi Matondo scuffed that, Reiss, I couldn't believe it. I thought that's the chance dead. I know there wasn't a lot between it, but it's one of those ones where you look away for 2 seconds, you're like, I can't believe you've not put that in the back of the net. But Kemar Roofe, I think I've said this before, I understand Kemar Roofe's injury problems, and this is the last year he's going to be here. Let's be honest, he will not be getting a new contract because of that. But I just love him. I love him. He's deadly. He really is. Like if Kemar Roofe is fit and he's around the 6-yard box, he's going to get you a goal. I think you've seen it earlier on this season. I think it was Ross County the first time he started. He scores from a header at the back post in the first 10 minutes in the 6-yard box. He's so instinctive. His movement is superb. He just understands where he needs to be in dangerous attacks like this. And I just love him. I love him. It's such a shame, really, overall, that his Rangers career has been, held back by injuries because he's such a intelligent footballer. And I think you've seen that again tonight. He's came on and he's got us the winner. And I think a lot of people would if you'd said to someone in the summer that Kemar Roofe would be scoring your winner in Europa League this season, I think you would have been not a chance based on the rebuild we were going to do. So, look, he's still having an impact in this team, Reiss.
I think he's quite unique in that I don't think we've got anybody else in the squad who scores the goals that he scores.
Yeah.
But I don't think we've anybody else who you can trust to be there, not just stand there and then throw themselves at it. It was the same with Ross County. I remember the goal he scored and just looking at it, I think it just like battles off him at the last post or the last man for a corner or something at the back post. And it's just so, as you say, instinctive that he's rapid in reacting to it and just gets on it and it's in the net and next minute he's running away scoring, celebrating. But he's very unique in the squad in that sense. And it's one of those, he's a bit nostalgic as well because when you think about him, the only time he really consistently played was the 55 season. So I just always picture him in that kit with like the red and white at the back of it and just scoring goals for fun. And it's not been great ever since, but certainly gave us a great moment tonight and I'll take that.
Absolutely. If that's the way he's going to go out this year with that winner in terms of making an impact in these big games, then I'll take it. Absolutely. And I'll always remember Kemar Roofe fondly for Rangers, even if he has all these injuries. So I'm buzzing for him tonight. We'll just summarise the rest of the game then, Reiss. There wasn't too much. I actually thought that Rangers showed a lot of composure in that last 10 minutes, maybe not the last couple, where they had an opportunity to run it into the corner a couple of times, and Matondo's decided to take a shot from 25 yards, and Sima's tried to beat his man into the box. I'm not really sure what was going on there, so thanks for raising my heart rate at that point, the Rangers team. But I thought in the last 10 minutes, Rangers done really well to stifle Real Betis. I thought Real Betis really struggled. It was a bit of a sucker punch for them, that goal. They just never really were able to recover from it, and they were quite desperate in their attempts. They weren't trying to play anymore. It was very much direct football, and I thought Tavernier, like I said earlier, on that right-hand side was kind of eating everything up. So I want to give them a lot of credit for that. But look, Rangers showed a lot of resilience, and look, they end up getting the results. An unbelievable result for me. Like I said at the beginning of this podcast, Real Betis are unbeaten this season, I believe, at home, just drew with Real Madrid. So, for Rangers to go there, win, top the group, with such an important game coming up on Sunday, because I think a lot of people looked at this game as maybe not a free hit, but, the priority is Sunday. And I think for the Rangers team to go out there and with that real momentum now, think of the buzz in that changing room going into Sunday now for what they've just done tonight. I think, look, the manager and the team deserve a lot of credit. How proud are you of the team tonight, Reiss? What did you think make of all?
Definitely, I think they showed real character in the last 10 minutes, just to, as you say, stifle Betis. I think frustrate them as well. You've seen how it ended at the end there with Isco hitting the last shot of the game, and it's miles wide. It's about 35 yards out, and it's a grass cutter. So it just shows you the levels of frustration amongst the Betis players towards the end, and that comes from Rangers players being brave enough and willing to work hard enough to match every run because they were so desperate and they had the vast majority of the ball. Bit naive, as you say, when we've got chances to maybe go at the corner or whatever. That might be a manager's principle, I'm not sure. But I think at that point it turns into game management, so that possibly needs tweaked. But in the way back, when we were out of possession, you just seen so many like bodies going in the line. Sterling had one, I remember specifically, because I thought it was a handball and
threw himself at it in the box, didn't he? Yeah.
But yeah, there was a few. Butland done very, very well. There was one came across Butland. It might have been a header or something. I can't quite remember.
He's tapped it wide.
Tapped it, but he's done so well to get his hand round it and not let it go out for a corner. He's not just palmed it wide. He's deliberately made sure to keep the ball in play, or to at least get it to the side, because a corner at that point, you've got a much higher chance of scoring. They're sending the keeper forward and everything, most likely. So he done very well just to make that split-second decision. And it's a great result.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with more of everything you said there. If we start talking about how good Jack Butland is, we'll be here all night, Reiss. So I'm not going to chime in on that one. Usually I would, because I love him to bits. But yeah, I totally agree with you in terms of palming it to the side there, because he gets caught, and maybe he doesn't get caught, but the ball comes across. I don't think he's really expecting it, and he manages to get there and tip it around the post, and he keeps us alive. He keeps us ahead. So yeah, that was a good point to bring up. I completely agree with you on that. But I think just overall for me, one of those performances, I think, tonight for Rangers, that like I said before, you're just really proud. That's a really, really tough place to go. I think we all remember a couple of years ago in Seville, it wasn't so good for us. So to go back there and get a result like that against a really good team, they've shown it this season, and really when the pressure's on, to deliver. They had the kind of comfort of knowing that they were getting Conference League football, they were getting European football after the winter break, but this Rangers team have kicked on and went, we don't want Conference League football, we want Europa League. And they've went into that tonight, and they've topped the group. Look,
every excuse tonight not to win that game. We had the injuries, we've got the cup final, you've got the guaranteed Conference League, but the resilience and they showed just to kick on with it, take the game on, and it probably does breed down for the manager just wanting to win the next game all the time. Next game. The
passion from Philippe Clement on the sideline tonight was so good to watch as well, wasn't it? Every one of those goals, he was living and breathing it. I love to see that from the manager as well. We've not maybe not had that in a wee while, and I like that kind of style. So yeah, keep that up, Philippe Clement. We enjoy watching that. So that's us really for this. But Reiss, before we go, I'm going to ask you this one: man of the match, who would you give it tonight?
Toss up between Lundstrom and Sima. I would probably go Lundstrom just because I think Sima will get credit anyway.
Yeah, I think it was between those two and James Tavernier for me. I think you're right on Sima. He'll get a lot of credit anyway, so I maybe won't give it to him. I think it's between Lundstrom and Tavernier. I'm going to probably give it to the captain just based on the last 10 minutes. I thought he done really well. I think Betis brought on is it El Abdi, who's on loan for Barcelona. Abdi, yeah, I think he's second name was. Is he on loan from Barcelona?
Yeah, he goes by Abdi, but he's massively highly rated. So it's not just a lot of people will look at that and go, "Oh, who's this?" They're chucking on to try and run at him, just a quick winger. But the boy's talented, so he's had a hard task there. Yeah,
so I'm going to give it to the captain. I'm going to give it to Tavernier. I thought he done really well in the last 10 minutes to see us through, and led by example a lot of the time when backs were against the wall there. So I think he deserves credit for that one. But definitely John Lundstrom's in there as well. Again, another performance from John Lundstrom we've seen over the years in Europe, that he seems to deliver his best performances in this competition. Maybe because he doesn't have to be in the ball as much, so it's just all about that determination, drive, and leading by example, and I really like that in John Lundstrom. So definitely want to see more of that, especially in Europa League level, and hopefully we can have another run like we had a couple of years ago. Let's hope. So yeah, that's Rangers into the last 16. They thankfully skipped the playoff round, which is good because we would have been up against some top Champions League teams. So that's a round of fixtures that Rangers get to miss out on, but they still get Europa League football into next year. So that's something for us to really look forward to. Thanks for everyone listening today. Remember to subscribe to the channel, give the video a like if you've enjoyed it. And all I need to do now is thank Reiss for his time. Reiss, thank you.
Thanks very much. Looking forward to the draw.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about the draw, actually. That's the interesting part, isn't it? Yeah. But yeah, thanks everyone for listening. We'll see you in the next one. Cheers.